Bad Days in History, December 1st, 2006, Mexico's inaugural brawl. So when Felipe Calderon was being inaugurated as president of Mexico, people were protesting, rioting, and congressmen were even fistfighting on chamber floors. Which means that January 6th was just another example of Americans appropriating Mexican culture. Bad Days in History, December 2nd, 1974, literary boxing ring.
There's Norman Mailer and Gore Vidal smack-talk each other on the Dick Cavett show in a way that would make Jerry Springer blush. Vidal had trash-talked Mailer's book, which itself was written to trash-talk a book written by feminist writer Kate Millett. Before the show, Mailer had headbutt Vidal. During the show, Vidal verbally humiliated Mailer. After the show, Kate Millett was probably at home wondering how the hell these two guys were making 20% more than she does.
Bad Days in History, December 3rd, 1992, no LOL matter. Neil Papworth sent the world's first text message, so thank you, Neil, for increasing driving accidents, decreasing literacy rates, and making every teacher's job that much harder. I hate you, son. Bad Days in History, December 4th, 1977, of Cannibals and Kings.
Alleged cannibal and confirmed douchebag John Bedell Bokassa crowned himself Emperor of the Central African Republic in a $25 million ceremony that included 60 Mercedes-Benzes, a 2-ton golden throne shaped like an eagle, and a pearl-covered toga.
Here's a picture of it.
After world leaders declined his invitation to their ceremony, he said, "They're jealous of me because I had an empire and they didn't." Dude dressed up like a citizen from the Capitol in the Hunger Games and said they hate us because they ain't us.
Bad Days in History, December 5th, 1484. Witches brouhaha.
Heinrich Kramer got a special permit from the Pope to hunt witches in Central Europe. He wrote a book called Hammer of the Witches, which is a how-to guide on hunting witches. In it, he wrote that all witchcraft comes from carnal lust, but that witches also cause erectile dysfunction, which seems counterintuitive. I suspect this guy had performance issues, and he killed tens of thousands of women just so no one would know he had a broken...
Bad Days in History, December 6, 1741, a baby Tsar in misery.
Tsar Ivan VI was barely a year old when he was imprisoned by his cousin Elizabeth so that she could be the ruler of Russia. Ivan was named heir to the throne by Empress Anna so that her advisor/lover could rule Russia until Ivan became an adult, which pissed off his already adult relatives. He was eventually killed at 24 when one of the guards tried to break him out.
This baby got the world's longest time out because his great aunt wanted to leave a parting gift for her side piece. Bad Days in History, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. While the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, December 7th is also infamous for the fact that the U.S. declared war on Austria-Hungary in 1917, Saddam Hussein denied having weapons of mass destruction in 2002, and Hamid Karzai was elected first president of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan for a very controversial term, which means you could take all the events from December 7th alone and remake We Didn't Start the Fire. Bad Days in History, December 9th, 2002, a lot of explaining to do.
Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott began an apology tour after attending the 100th birthday of notorious civil rights opponent Strom Thurmond and expressing disappointment that the racist Dixiecrat candidate lost a presidential bid in 1948. Lott went on multiple networks, bumbling apologies until he finally resigned after a spot on BET, which proves that if we really want to get rid of politicians, we need the audience from the Apollo Theater to just mercilessly boo them until they leave on their own.
Bad Days in History, December 8, 1941, MacArthur parked in Manila. Despite being warned of a very likely attack on the Philippines, General MacArthur did absolutely nothing to prepare his forces in any way. He just stood by and waited for the Japanese to come. They destroyed the American base, took over the Philippines, and MacArthur would go on to become the Supreme Commander of Allied forces in the Pacific, which, after this move, makes zero sense. He would also go on to be the first commander of the United Nations forces, which, after this move, makes perfect sense. Bad Days in History, December 10th, multiple years, less than Nobel.
The Nobel Prize has been awarded to some people whose accomplishments have gone on to have devastating effects on humanity. In 1918, Fritz Haber received it for research that led to his development of chemical weapons during World War I. In 1949, Antonio Egas Moniz received it for developing lobotomy as a medical procedure. Let's see who won the prize this year.
Oh, Bad Days in History, December 11, 1951, Crick and Watson get off track.
After a disastrous presentation, Francis Crick and James D. Watson were ordered by their boss at Cambridge University to stop research on the DNA model. Eventually they pick it back up, and the DNA model is found to be one of the most important scientific discoveries in human history because how else would Maury Povich tell men whether or not they are the father?
Bad Days in History, December 12, 1937, suddenly shocked at Mae West. Mae West performed on a scripted radio show for NBC that was filled with sexual innuendo. When people complained about the lewd performance, NBC claimed ignorance and banned Mae West from future shows. They specifically hired her to be sexy. That's like Victoria's Secret hiring models and saying, we don't know why they stripped down to their underwear when we started filming. Or taking a class field trip to the White House and saying, we didn't know the president would just start sniffing all the kids. Bad Days in History, December 14, 1861, morning, noon, and night, for decades.
Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, died, beginning a 40-year-long mourning process, which is crazy because my wife loves me, but she said she's waiting 2 years max before she remarries. I asked why 2 years. She said 1 year of life insurance, 1 year of savings, and I quote, "I'm not a queen, I'm a single mother who doesn't want to go back to work."
Bad Days in History, December 15, 2013, dying to upstage her sister, Joan Fontaine's finale. Olivia de Havilland and Joan Fontaine were sisters and Hollywood rivals. Joan once quipped that she married first, won an Oscar first, and if she died first, her sister would be livid because she beat her to it. Sure enough, on December 15, 2013, Joan achieved the level of pettiness we all aspire to. She achieved every adult's dream, which is to beat your rival one last time and not have to live through 2019. Bad Days in History, December 16, 1997, Pokemon attacks 600 children. Pokemon Cartoon Episode 38, Computer Warrior Porygon, caused 600 children in Japan to experience seizures and headaches upon its release. Later on, Pokemon Go would lead to almost 150,000 car accidents, including almost 250 deaths. That means that Pokemon media is actually more dangerous than the Pokemon themselves. Bad Days in History, December 17, 1862, General Grant's medieval measure. During the Civil War, there was a black market in the cotton trade, which may or may not be a problematic sentence in and of itself, but setting that aside, General Grant worried that this was financially benefiting the Confederate States, prolonging the war. So what did Grant do? Blame the Jews, of course. He issued General Order 11, banning Jews from government jobs in Tennessee. I don't know what's more shocking. Grant banned Jews from the Tennessee government, or that the Tennessee government didn't already have a policy banning Jews. Bad Days in History, December 18, 1912, Skullduggery, the Piltdown Man hoax. Charles Dawson claimed to find the skeletal remains of the missing link between man and ape in jolly old England. People were suspicious about the find, but it wasn't until decades later someone proved it was an elaborate hoax. The missing link skull was actually the skull of a 500-year-old Englishman combined with the altered jaw of an orangutan. In hindsight, they probably should have known it was fake because the orangutan teeth were too perfect to be that of an Englishman. December 19, 211, The Brothers Grimm fate. Roman Emperor Caracalla tricked his mother into luring his brother into a trap and killing him in her arms. I thought my family gatherings were rough around the holidays. But this was before Christmas was moved to December 25th, so Caracalla's mother couldn't even use the threat of getting him put on the naughty list as an easy way to get him to behave. December 20, 2007, Ho Ho Oh No, the Poisoned Christmas Present. A toy CSI fingerprint kit inspired by the famous CBS TV series CSI was recalled due to the discovery of asbestos in the fingerprint dust. A bunch of those gifts were already wrapped and put under the tree that year, which means kids everywhere went from me so disappointed to mesothelioma. Bad Days in History, December 21st, 1994, Every Christmas Ladling Out Holiday Sneer. Writer Tom Shales absolutely shredded Kathy Lee Gifford's Christmas special in a review he wrote for the Washington Post, calling it the blight before Christmas. This man did this again in 95, 96, 97, and 98, making it longer than any Christmas tradition I ever practiced, and bringing a new meaning to the term holiday roast. Bad Days in History, December 22nd, 1995, a huge, spectacular, unprecedented flop. Rennie Harlan's pirate adventure film Cutthroat Island released in theaters and went on to win the 2012 Guinness Book of World Records biggest box office bomb of all time, which is insane considering in 2011 Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill was released to us in theaters. Bad Days in History, December 23rd, 1883, John Wilkes Booth's Other Victim. Henry Rathbone, who was deeply traumatized after witnessing Abraham Lincoln's assassination and surviving an attack from John Wilkes Booth, fatally shot his wife and attempted to kill himself before being institutionalized in a German asylum for the criminally insane. Can you imagine how horrific your mental state must be for Germans to be like, yo, this guy is crazy?
From December 24th, 1865, which was the official formation of the KKK. Yeah, I know, right? Talk about a white Christmas. I just remember thinking, like, why? Why do you have to start the KKK on Christmas Eve? Why do you have to ruin that day? You know, that's like going to a friend's birthday party and starting the KKK. Like, I can't think of a worse thing to do to ruin a day.